What if I were to suggest that you play a key role in the awakening world? And that you are watching this because you have heard the call. We can start right now by opening our hearts and minds. Welcome to the awakening world.
Good morning, everybody, and a very happy Sacred Sunday to you. Happy Orthodox Easter, and blessings to all of you watching. I see many of our friends that are already here in the Zoom room with us, and I want to welcome all of you who are watching on Facebook, and a big thanks to John and Summer Raymer. They get us out to as many as 175 Facebook groups and pages, which is really amazing. So welcome. Now, if you're watching on Facebook, or you might be watching on Alan Steinfeld's YouTube channel, or even our own YouTube channel, I want to invite you to come on into the Zoom room. Come and join the Global Peace Tribe. And it's really easy to do that. You just go to globalpeacetribe.com. Go to globalpeacetribe.com, and you're going to learn all about who we are and what we do, and click register for the new season. And when you click that, that's going to take you to our registration page. And here are all the different people that are on the show, a lot of our regulars, a lot of amazing people. And we do 3 or 4 shows every week. So for example, on Wednesday night, we do a show every Wednesday night, co-hosted with Trish Wright. And it was a beautiful show Wednesday night, all about being a lighthouse in the darkness. How can we shine our light of love even when there's so many hard and challenging things going on in the world? Then last night, Omoshar hosted the show along with Jennifer Hill, and it was all a number of world-class healers sharing their wisdom. And then here's the show that we're going to have today, and it's going to be a very beautiful show, all about Mary Magdalene and who was she really, and what have we learned about her? And we've got several women that have really studied and experienced Mary Magdalene in many wonderful ways, and you're going to be meeting them all today. So what's wonderful about joining the Global Peace Tribe is you're going to get the links to the Zoom room for all of our shows for the next 3 months. And you can come into the Zoom room, and that's where there's a lot of interaction. You can ask questions. You can get to know our wonderful people because we have a wonderful Global Peace Tribe. We are growing and coming together in beautiful ways. So come and join the Global Peace Tribe. Oh, and you also will receive the links to all of our replays. You know, we've done 500 shows since the start of the pandemic, a little over 3 years ago. It's pretty amazing. Well, one of my favorite people is with us today. I am so grateful to have as my co-host, and really the person who inspired this show, the wonderful Eden Amadora. Of course, our regulars have seen her on the show many times. Most recently, we did a show with the Twin Ray, and we were actually with the Twin Ray in person this weekend. And it was really wonderful to all be in the same room together.
Amazing.
Yeah. But Eden, well, for people who don't know Eden, she's many things. She has been a rock star. That's a little known thing that people may not know about her in an earlier part of her life. She's a mother of two amazing young people. But most of all, she is truly all about the awakening world. She leads retreats and classes and courses. She has a wonderful every Thursday program where people can come in and connect with the oracle part of herself. And Eden brings so much grace and integrity to everything she does. She just brings beauty to this process of awakening, and she's really dedicated to helping each of us, each person who works with her, really on their own personal journey, because we're all on a personal journey of awakening, just as our planet is on a journey of awakening. So I love having you here. She's the inspiration for today's show. And Eden, tell us a little bit about your relationship to Mary Magdalene and how that's evolved over the years.
Thank you, Scott. And I'm so honored to be here with everyone who's beaming in. It's so good to see familiar faces and be with these beloveds today. I love that you mentioned the rock and roll part of me, because it actually connects to my journey with Mary Magdalene, which is such an unusual moment. Maybe it was the rebel, younger kind of part of me that found this wild word in a kind of sci-fi extragalactic glossary, and it was HOR. It meant hyperdimensional radiating source. And I thought, wow, that is a great name for a rock band. And I was demoing up all these songs. I was living in Europe and I was traveling back to America with my very young daughter. Excuse me, I'm still clearing my morning voice here. And I was standing in a long line. This is back in the time where you would wait to change your lira back into American dollars. And there was a book leaning against the glass and no one was claiming it. And I thought to myself, I wonder if that's in English. And this is more than 20 years ago. As I got closer and closer to the counter, I saw the title of the book. It was in English and it said Mary. And I was really captivated. I wasn't raised religiously. I have to say I was raised spiritually. My mother studied comparative religion. My father, his religion was gardening, music, and deep inquiry, kind of more of a Taoist flow guy. And I looked at this book and I thought, it's in English. It's about Mary. I'm not sure what this will be like, but I read the entire book on that long flight back. And it inspired me to write a rock song called Mary that was really questioning which Mary. And I bring this up because she is such a controversial and enigmatic figure in history. And there are so many Marys mentioned in the Bible. And this particular book was a channeled book pre-Tom Kenyon's Magdalene manuscripts popularity. I had never even heard of that at this point. And this particular book was talking about the deep and intimate relationship between her and her beloved Yeshua, Emmanuel. And this particular author went into such detail about the spiritual transmission that he directly gave her, and then how she lived out the rest of her life in this ministry of love and the path of the heart. And it touched me so deeply. It planted a seed way back before my own spiritual awakening, really, which looked like a dark night of the soul from all appearances, and then kind of catapulted me out of the glamour world, out of the world of international modeling and the music industry, into a life of service and deeper connection to the heart. And I just wanted to share that the deeper I open to this energy of Mary Magdalene, and one of the controversial aspects is her name. And we have several figures in the Bible named Mary. It wasn't until 551 or 91 AD that Pope Gregory the Great assigned this character, Mary Magdalene, this quality of being a sinner or a prostitute that was never really mentioned regarding her in the Bible. It was a combination of three Marys that he kind of grouped together. One was the sister of Lazarus, and this is in the Gospel of Luke. And the other was Mary of Egypt, who was said to be a prostitute, though we must remember that there was a very different relationship between temple initiations in Egypt back in that time and the healing that could come through sacred sexuality. And then lastly, there was Mary of Magdala. So the name Magdalene is derived from a place. It is really that place that she came from. And in my gnosis, in my heart, my sense of the true apostle of apostle, beloved, most intimate disciple is the Mary of Magdala, who witnessed the crucifixion and the resurrection, and who is known as a myrrhophore, a woman who carries the sacred oil of myrrh amongst other healing oils. And she was also accompanied by his mother, another Mary. Of course, we know Mother Mary, the most beloved and probably the most popular divine feminine figure in Judeo-Christianity in the world, in this Western world. Mary Magdalene is now rising to take her place as a saint. The Catholic Church is recognizing her finally as a saint. And this idea of her being a denigrated whore, even though my album was still pretty edgy with the name, it is appearing to be such a fallacy. She was known to be a very educated, wealthy, and deeply trained initiate of a path that goes back to ancient Egypt. And my feeling from the studies that I've been on this journey for a long time now is that she and Yeshua were deeply, deeply working together around our human ascension, around what it is to awaken to the Sacred Heart, to open the master switch of the Sacred Heart. So this is what I am committed to in this lifetime. When I say the master switch, it's like when the Sacred Heart turns on, it changes everything. All our other senses awaken, and we rise into this next level of our human evolution. So I'm passionate about that path and following her in that way in this lifetime.
Mm.
Yeah.
Right off the bat, like, it's just so beautiful. Thank you. You know, we've got people in our Zoom room from Finland, from Ecuador, New York City, British Columbia. So it's always beautiful to see our global reach. And I just want to briefly introduce who else we're going to be hearing from today. And then Eden's going to lead kind of an opportunity for us to drop in. But speaking of other countries, we've got your friend Chanel, and we're going to hear all about what you and Chanel are doing. She's coming to us all the way from France. So that's pretty incredible. Much closer to you and I, Eden, geographically, is Melissa. And Melissa is going to be sharing her experience of Mary Magdalene and the transmissions she's received. And then old friend and dear friend, Christy Michaels is with us, of course. And Christy was just with us last week on our Easter show. And of course, every year she does the Magdalene Moonrise Ceremony, which she did last Sunday. So we've got all these wonderful people who are going to be sharing with us. And of course, our beautiful, beloved brother Omashar is with us. We'll be providing some music. And speaking of music, we're going to have Eden now do a brief kind of presentation, kind of a drop-in, a chance to come in, and Omashar will underscore a little bit and then go into some music, and then we'll continue on.
Not hearing you, Omshar.
Go ahead, Ethan.
Beloveds, during Omashar's beautiful music, I'm hoping through Omashar you could turn it up a little bit more just for the audience to hear. I think a little more background music. Okay. We're going to dive right into the Sacred Heart for a direct experience together. I'd like to invite us on this Sacred Sunday to bring our hands to our heart for a moment. Close our eyes. Deeply breathing. Deepening connection to your heart chakra. Omashar, your sound is.
I actually had to mute him because unfortunately it was getting in the way of our ability to hear you clearly.
Okay.
Yeah, so we're gonna have to just have silence underneath.
Okay.
Yeah, let's just take two.
Okay. So we're going to take two. We're going to start again, beloveds. Taking a deep breath, actually bringing your hands of light together in this simple mudra of namaste, and just bowing in front of your heart chakra for a moment. Breathing into the center of your heart, and then diving deeper inside, deeper towards the back. You can bow your chin a little bit, and with your single pointed focus and deep breath, imagine opening the back heart, the deepest chambers of the inner heart sanctuary. And then bringing the palm of one of your hands flat on your chest and the other over it for a moment, and just diving into a feeling of gratitude, a feeling of connection in this moment, this beautiful community, to these sacred teachings, to this gorgeous spring day in the Northern Hemisphere. And for those in the Southern Hemisphere, just feeling the beauty that surrounds. And feeling your body as the holy temple, as the place where it's all happening. To come deeper in is to come into the cosmic heart. It's the paradox where inward becomes this ascension. And so we breathe into the center and the depth of our heart with our gratitude, our breath of life, in spiritu. In ancient Aramaic, this word means both breath and spirit. And just feeling as you focus your love, your gratitude, and your breath in that sacred heart, that there is a spark there. There is a place there that is like a portal, like a dimensional doorway. And through that doorway, the divine light opens up from the inside of you and from all around. There's no separation from the divine one. This connection is not up and outside of us. This is right here, closer than close, nearer than near. When Yeshua said, heaven is near, nearer than near. Just breathing into that feeling. Thank you. I love you. Not separate from this light. Breathing into that vastness within. One more shared breath here, and then lifting the chin and opening the hands of light like a cup or a lotus flower. This is called the Padma Mudra. And just feeling that as your heart, your devotion, and your receptivity to this light opens, it is like a toroidal field that pours up and out of this cup, that emanates raises your vibration. Deep breath here. And just feeling like in the tarot, the cups are all actually straight up and down, the alignment of your holy temple, your chalice of your being. It need not empty itself to empty by pouring all the way out. It stays vertical. It stays here to be filled with divine light, so that as you offer your heart, you are refilled. There is no lack and there is no separation. And then bringing this chalice up to the third eye, that when our eye becomes completely illuminated, we see through the illusion of separation, and there is only love. And pressing our palms together in Namaste, bringing it back to the heart, taking one last really deep breath into that sacred heart. And then slowly, slowly opening our eyes together. And I bow to you in love. Thank you. Thank you.
Holy Mother, my heart longs to be free. Holy Mother, dissolve me into thee. Holy Mother, please purify my mind. Holy Mother, let me feel your love divine. Holy Mother, hold my hand within your hand. Holy Mother, let me feel all that I am. Holy Mother, Holy Mother, Holy Mother, Holy Mother, Holy Mother, my heart longs to be free. Holy Mother, dissolve me into thee. Holy Mother, please purify my mind. Holy Mother, let me feel your love divine. Holy Mother, Holy Mother, Holy Mother, Holy Mother, Holy Mother, hold my hand within your hand. Holy Mother, let me feel all that I am. Thank you, Eden.
That was certainly a most appropriate, beautiful song, and Thank you, Eden, for that beautiful meditation to drop us in. Thank you. And we have some really wonderful other people with us today. Christy Michaels is back 2 weeks in a row. And Christy has a long and wonderful history with Mary Magdalene. So Christy, tell us about your experiences.
Oh, thank you, Scott. Yes, and thank you, Eden, for such a beautiful opening, and our sacred masculine. Oh my God, we have the best men on this program that keep joining time and time again. I see you out there, and I'm just so grateful for the men who show up and honor. And my story, of course, today has to do with the Cathars. And I want to give you a little historic background to understand why Magdalene is coming alive so much today. And so I'm going to share my screen here for a second. The Cathars were the ones who were really beholden to Magdalene's teachings. And it's now very well documented that Mary Magdalene came to the south of France, that she traveled and basically taught Jesus's true ministry, which is called the way of love. And it's all about love. And so this is the symbol of the Cathars. And this symbol comes from the flower of life, which we don't have a lot of time to go into all the details of that, but you can come and join me in some of my classes and you'll learn more about that. But basically the flower of life, and this is Montségur on the left, which is the monastery where the Cathars held up because they were being attacked by the Catholic Church, and it allowed them to survive for a while until they were completely massacred by the Inquisition. So what ended up happening was this particular symbol is actually the maypole. Now, when you look from heaven down on top of the maypole, you'll see it as a dot. And the maypole is a symbol of heaven on earth, right? Because what does it say? It says we are supposed to experience heaven on earth, not heaven in the heavens. We're supposed to be having an experience of heaven on earth right here and right now. And so the Cathars would practice that symbol of doing it. And they honored women as priestesses. But not only that, women were equal. And so this is a statue of the Cathars in their traditional dress, and they were called the Perfecti because they devoted their lives. And women didn't really come into their priestesshood until after they had completed raising their children, because there's so much wisdom that's gained. So rather than the Catholic Church, what did? They sequester the women and take them in as virgins. And so these women that come in as nuns have no experience dealing with the world. A woman who's a priestess of a Catholic devotion is very experienced in the world, as she's raised kids, she's had a husband, she's lived in a community, and then she becomes the priestess. So this is a beautiful painting in the catacombs of one of the women being honored as a priestess. And then this is when I arrived at the Montségur, inside the monastery, what's left and survived of it. The divine feminine was almost completely destroyed, but 4 people escaped, and that's a phenomenal story. This church was this monastery of the Cathars was destroyed by the Catholic Church in March 16th, 1244. And they have had a prophecy that there will be a return of the Cathars. And the legend is that we are all Cathars of a past life. And we are now finding each other. If you're on this call, you've been called. There's some way that you're connected to the Cathars. And we're all being called together for the grand awakening. So just to give you an example of what a feat it was to get off the sheer cliff that was at the back of the monastery, and the 4 who escaped it. Now there's several stories and legends about the 4 who escaped, and I've heard different versions of it, but this is the one version that really spoke to me, is that there were two men, an older man and a young teenage boy, and two fully trained Cathar priestesses. Now the Cathar priestesses being fully trained was a smart move on the Cathars' part, because they knew the Catholic Church, if they captured these kids escaping, their point of view about young girls is young girls are rubbish. They're throwaways. So what would they know? They know nothing. They're women. They're lower than life, right? So they would leave them alone. But these little girls were fully trained with the knowledge, so that the knowledge would be preserved of what the Cathars believe, which is that men and women are equal as spirit. And Mary Magdalene was the leader. She was the apostle to the apostles, and they held that belief. And the Catholic Church did not want that. That's why they labeled her a prostitute. And so, anyway, in my further deep dive research through Kathleen McGowan's website, she used to have a resource link, and I clicked on that link, and there's lots and lots of different resources. And I kept going through it, and I came to this link that said the Magdalene House, and it listed the names of all the descendants of the four Cathars. And there was my family name. Craig was my maiden name. And my half brother, who is kind of polar opposite to me, Brown. And so I was really like, wow, this is amazing that there's and it kind of spoke to me and told me why I was so driven when I started hearing about the stories of Mary Magdalene. So here we are, we're at the bottom of the mountain, and it's a mountain you have to climb up, and we go up and up, and as we got up there, it just get foggier and foggier and foggier. Now I'm traveling with Shannon Anderson, who's in black under the umbrella, who wrote the book The Magdalene Awakening, which was really an incredible book, and it's one to read if you're going to go to the south of France. So as I'm coming up to the top of the mountain, and it's getting foggier and foggier, we were bound to determine that what we were going to do was we were going to set up a little altar and say a blessing in honor of the 222 Cathars that were massacred. So we created this little altar, and then an interesting thing happened. Now, I so far have not met anyone who's gone to France, and this is why I implore you, if you feel compelled to go to France, to go. And I know Eden Anadora is going to be taking a group to France, and you must go and join, because walking the land is so incredible. It enlivens you with a richness and a depth, a feeling that you just can't have. And everybody I've ever met has had mystical experiences while they've been in France. So we're creating this little altar, and then all of a sudden, this one orb shows up. And I was like really curious, like, wow, one little tiny orb. And when I went to Egypt and I went into like the temple of Luxor, and they told us, bring your cameras because the temple is so prayed up. There's so many orbs in there. And I was so excited to go into the temple and see. And this is a picture I took from my camera of all these orbs. So this is what you usually see. So for one orb to be shown up, I was like really curious. And so I blew it up to see it, how perfectly beautiful it was. And you remember, it's all fogged in. So there's no like beam of light shining down that usually sparks orbs, right? So anyway, in continuing my research and searching for the Magdalene, this book by Jane Law, I came across this picture of the Grail Cup, and there was the one orb. So it was significantly a symbol regarding the Cathars. And then, and Scott, you'll love this. This is the crop circle that was formed. Now, what was interesting about this crop circle was proven not to be man-made, because they had the researchers up on the hill, and they were deliberately watching with night vision glasses to look at the hill to make sure if somebody went out there and built a crop circle. And they just happened to go over to the other hill for an hour and a half to check the other side of the field that was on the other side of the hill. And when they came back, this crop circle with the one orb was fully formed at 300 300 feet. I think that's like 3 football fields or something. It's a huge crop circle. You can see how tiny the people are. So, and then I would just have to tell you about I'm going to end with this, that the when I was ordained, the weekend that I was ordained, Celestine Star said, grab a cisterine and let me take a picture of you. And so I'm picked it up and I'm ready to shake it. And I started shaking it. And then when I shook it, a marvelous and miraculous thing happened. I became full of orbs. And this was at the Temple of Isis up in Gothenburg. And if you look at the bottom of the picture under my arm, there's a huge red orb. Where have you seen a giant red orb like that? And I heard that's the red Tara, is what people have told me. And then there's a blue orb, which is like Archangel Michael, which I'm named after Archangel Michael. And so you can see that. So anyway, it was just such an amazing journey. And this has been what it's been like for me. That, I mean, Scott has seen me. We used to work in a little office and I always had Scott go up front and talk. And now I'm just exploded with what if you call it enthusiasm in spirit, filled with the infusion of spirit, the aliveness and the joy. Oh my God, it's so fun. I'm so glad you all are here to learn about the Magdalene Ventures, because it is totally about joy. Blessed be. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. And we'll be hearing more from Christy later on in the show, and learning about the classes. I definitely want to learn more about the classes you're going to be offering. So, but thank you for that beautiful historical context woven into your own personal experience.
Yeah, thank
That's
you.
actually a perfect segue, because a big part of the inspiration for the show is that Eden and her beloved friend who's with us, Chanel, are going to be creating an opportunity for people to have very amazing experiences. So with that, I'm going to turn over to you, Eden, to introduce Chanel, and yeah, we'll go down that direction.
Wonderful. So it's my honor to introduce this beautiful, radiant being that, in my personal experience, after being with her first for several years on Zoom, because she has lived in Europe, in Norway, and then the south of France, we came together through a course first that I offered called the Sun Heart Initiation, about really meeting that divine beloved within the heart. And Chanel resonated so much with the transmissions that she then came deeper onto the path of priestess initiation with me and joined my year-long training, where I got to know her much better. And Chanel is a yogini. She has studied with some very, very deeply seasoned masters in yoga, in the inner yogas, the Kriya yogas, the mantras, the mudras, and the asanas. She is a very, very seasoned yogini. And she is also dedicated to the study of purification of the body, and has been working with people for many, many years on retreats in Bali, in the south of France, in Norway, helping people come back to the highest frequency they can by cleansing and purifying the body on a very deep level, cellular level. And Chanel's own frequency has allowed her to open her channel to then bring in this beautiful book called The Crystal Children Prophecies. The Crystal Children Prophecies. And Chanel has the book here, and we're going to put the link in the chat for you as well. The Crystal Children Prophecies is a transmission, a direct channeled transmission of divine star child wisdom that touches the part of your heart that is so innocent and connected to source, and remembers where it came from and who it truly is. So this gift is coming now through Chanel. And Chanel recently invited me, after experiencing the initiatory work, the temple work that we did together in person, she invited me to come to this sacred land in France with her this summer. So I'm very excited for her to share more about her experience in this land and the inspiration to do this work together there. So welcome, Chanel. So good.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I'm so happy to be here. Thank you, Scott, for doing this work. My background is actually, for the past 18 years, I've been part of a lineage called the Santo Daime lineage, which is very much connected to the Christ lineage. And I've had many teachers, especially male teachers also, because I've been studying the Vedic teachings, which is a totally different lineage. And I was so happy when I met Eden, because I was finally finding a female teacher, which was very special for me to study with a woman. And so my journey, about 2.5 years ago, I was in a deep ceremony with the plant medicines of the Amazon, which I work with. And she told me, you have to go to France and you have to sit in old churches next to all the women. And I have learned to listen to the guidance of my guiding star. And so I told my man, we have to move. And he was like, why? And I was like, I just got the message, I have to go to France. And after that, we moved pretty shortly after that to France. And I've been here in South France for about 2.5 years now. I'm in the middle of all of these different sacred sites. It's very hard to leave, because there's something very, very unique and special in these lands. And I think so many of us are feeling the calling. I meet so many people who are hearing the call and feeling a deep connection to the Magdalene and to the Christ lineage. And it's really an awakening happening right now. And the only way I can explain it is that if you have a deep connection to this lineage, the pull will be there to also come here to South France and really feel the energy. I'm a person, I've never been into studying the books from what other people have written. I always want to have my own direct experience. And this is really what being here has provided me. Because when you go around to all of these different places, magic happens. And just like Christy explained, there is so many magical and mystical experiences when you connect with the land here. And that's been a very deep journey for me to be with the land and hear the spirit of the land speak. And what kind of comes from that has been so profound and so deep that it's really hard for me to leave now. I've been trying to leave, but it's just holding me here. There is some places here. It's like the new earth is being birthed here. Like the new earth is coming through the land. And I do ceremonial work. I do plant medicine ceremonies, and we have consecrations where we invoke the spirit of the Magdalene, and you can feel her. You can feel her presence. She's very present here. And I've done ceremonies all over the world, but there's something here where when you invoke her name and her spirit, you can really feel her presence in a very deep way.
Beautiful. Chanel, can you tell us a little bit more about the sacred waters, this crystalline springs, and maybe even the mystical cave that she's said to have spent the last years of her life meditating and praying in, and the feeling and the experience you've gotten from those places?
It's like nothing else I've ever experienced. I can't even put it into words. It's the frequency is the highest energy I've ever experienced. It's almost like you are higher up in the dimensions, and there's so much beauty happening. I'll share with you now a photo. Like you also explained, Christy, there's a lot of things appearing in the photos when we are at the sacred. There's a lot of sacred springs and sacred waters, and there's things that are appearing on the photos. I'll just share this with you. So this is taken from my favorite place here, which is these crystalline waters, and when you're there, you just want to immerse yourself in these waters. It's really crystalline and very, very high pitch, very high frequency. And
possible for you to put it in your background, possibly? Because Scott, the people on Facebook can't see the chat, right?
Oh yes, that's true. There you have it. Yeah, so you can see there's an angel wing appearing on the photo. And we've had so many situations where we take photos and there's light, there's a lot of light coming in and doing different things in the photos. There's a lot of situations where there's beautiful, like I had a group at one of the temples for Maria Magdalena, and we were all standing together up on the hill, which is very sacred for a lot of the people who come to pilgrimage here. And we all saw a scarab, a flying scarab, just around our head. So there's also a lot of Egyptian symbology when you travel around in the land here. There's a lot of Egyptian symbology. So there's a clear link to that also.
Fascinating. I know you also told me about there's a it's very strange relic, like holy relics, where you can go and see potentially her skull, like that. It's preserved.
Yeah. So there's one of the cathedrals which is interestingly enough, I heard it's either owned or sponsored by Prince Charles, and they have her skull in like a golden relic, which is also, quite interesting. To be here is a funny combination of there's so much light and then there's also a lot of darkness, because you can almost feel like has happened so many things here, and sabotaging of a very beautiful divine feminine energy coming through the land.
I think this is a good time for us to share a little bit with the audience about what the two of you are going to actually be doing, because you've kind of whet our appetite. It's like, wow, these amazing experiences like Christy has experienced. I also just want to acknowledge people in the audience. Please give us your thoughts, your comments. And there's a fascinating comment that Ayada put in all about her response to Christy and how she had a vivid dream very similar to the story that Christy just told about the Cathars being attacked. So, it's a magical time, everybody. So share your thoughts, share your comments. And Eden and Chanel, go ahead and tell us more about the retreat that you are going to be creating in France.
Beautiful. I don't know if eventually we can even show the page, but for now we'll just share that the inspiration has come from the direct experience Chanel had of the mystery school teachings that have been transmitted and channeled through my mentor and fairy goddess mother, and then to me to offer with the archetypes, the divine feminine. So we will sit with the great mother and be in a full day ceremony together on the powerful lands of Mary Magdalene's, holy and sacred sites, and be in a high frequency space connecting to the divine feminine. So this retreat is this time for women who are on a path of heart awakening and leadership as embodiments of love, beings that are called to step even deeper into that remembrance and to awaken those codes. Just like we're talking about, people are having these awakenings and these dreams, and they're feeling called to be in service at a higher level. So we're going to be sitting with the Great Mother as that foundation of what it is to be an embodiment of unconditional love. And then we'll move into a day-long ceremony with the priestess and visit these sacred, pristine, crystalline waters and use them in water ritual and ceremony together. And it's said that Mary Magdalene and the Cathar priestesses that she trained would bring beings to be healed in these waters, to be baptized, to be purified in these waters. So we'll be working directly with these sacred waters and praying with the waters and really utilizing them for our own forgiveness and dissolving what we would call kind of the ancient knots and soul scars that would keep us feeling anything less than whole and divine and ready to serve in love. And then we'll also go very, very deep into a goddess of compassion ceremony where we'll also be using the waters and pilgrimaging to, because when we feel into unconditional love in the ministry of Yeshua and Magdalene, it is the heart of compassion. It is compassionate detachment at the highest level. What they were able to do comes from that high frequency of compassion. So we'll be embodying that on these lands and going through sacred ceremonies and rites to really, again, just release and forgive everything. That is the ultimate forgiveness. Truly, in the Course in Miracles, there's a whole different way of thinking of forgiveness. It changes everything. Seen through the eyes of love, there is only forgiveness. So these are just parts of the ceremonies. Then we are going to be diving deeper into sacred ceremony in this circle of women that will be then taking that onto the land, to walk the land, to connect the land, to feel the spirits of that land. And I would say that if you're resonating, if you've been feeling the call, this is a very unique opportunity because many pilgrimages to this area are coming from the more kind of historical, intellectual, like let's feel the history of this place or this church or this Cathar temple, and that's very powerful, and you can feel the energies. This is an opportunity to actually do some of the ascension work, some of the deeper embodiment work, some of the heart awakening work that is connected to what they were really doing there. So it's a combination of really visiting the sites and being in the beauty of this powerful path on the land again. Did you say anything else, Chanel, about the retreat from your lens of?
I think it's one thing is to kind of come here and go around to the sacred sites, but we're going to also go to the places that are less known, that are not so popular in that sense. They're more hidden. And in my experience, these are also some of the very, very special places. The French people won't even share it. They're very private about some of the places here. And we're going to have deep ceremonial work in these sacred places. It's really the kind of thing. It's not, it's a soul journey. It's the kind of thing. It's a pilgrimage. So I think for you who really feel the call to the Christ lineage, and especially the feminine, the Sophia, to study this deeper, this is a really beautiful way of doing those studies.
A direct embodied experience of it from your own remembrance, your own gnosis, where it opens up so much of your own mystical awareness, and that sacred heart awakening is catalyzed much more.
And just to give an example of that, we had a group. I had a retreat here last year with a group of women, and I actually, like I shared earlier, I haven't studied all the different books about the Magdalene. I want to know myself. I want to learn myself. I didn't know that she baptized people here. And we were at these very sacred waters, and I heard a spirit say, now you have to baptize everyone in the group. And I didn't know that she did that. And so I baptized everyone, and it was a bit embarrassing because I was like, I've never baptized anyone, but I have to baptize you, you know? So it was a funny moment, because I didn't know, I've never learned it, but still she really instructed me when I was there, and I had full remembrance of, it was almost like I've done this before. And there's something there, something when you are on the land, you place your feet on the land, and the codes are streaming in and through you, and that's also where the remembrance gets activated.
Beautiful, powerful.
Let's go ahead and go to we are going to go to the website, and it's on Eden Amadora, her main site, edenamadora.com/retreat. But here's where you can learn all about it. It's going to take place from June 25th till July 2nd. So there's still room available, and just click apply now. And that's where, you can learn more about what Eden offers. You can apply, and it's an application, it's a whole process. Tell us about that, Eden.
Yeah, it is not for just anyone, because this is for people who are on a sincere, devoted spiritual path, because we're going to go very deep. And these ceremonies can be so catalytic. A being that would want to sit in that high frequency space needs to be optimally grounded and have done some of the work that is required to then be able to feel the levels of their inner alchemy raise in that way. So it's by application and interview that we will chat with you, we will speak with you, we will feel your journey and what brought you to this place where you're ready to do this deep work. Because my heart is committed, I'm devoted to initiating other beings on their path of heart awakening, in the sense of, it brings up a lot. It brings up what needs to be integrated and alchemized to fully embody. That's part of the ascension process. So someone very, very young or very new on their spiritual path, unless it's a very old soul that has so much remembrance and is completely grounded and integrated, I would probably say, let's work together for a little longer until another retreat like this arises. It's not just anyone who's going to be able to really go this deep with us. So this is a very powerful and sacred opportunity for those who are.
Beautiful. Well, thank you for that clarity. And we're going to hear more from Eden and Chanel. I'm so enjoying what you're sharing, Chanel. I can feel just the purity and your experience there. And that the story about all of a sudden, oh my God, I don't know anything about baptizing, right?
Yeah.
But then how the Spirit came in, and there was another part of you that did know what to do. That's a beautiful story.
Yeah,
So
thank you.
we are going to hear more from Chanel and Eden, but I'm going to bring Christy back on because we have another wonderful guest who I'm really looking forward to hearing from. And Christy is going to introduce her. I also just want to acknowledge both Sage and Melinda, two of our Zoom roomers, have put some really fascinating comments and stories into the chat box. So I want to encourage Chanel and Eden to take a look at those. But Christy, would you be willing to introduce our final guest, please?
I would be so honored and so thrilled. But, as priestess of Mary Magdalene, who is now next to another divine being, priestess of Mary Magdalene, I want to introduce her in the way that a priestess would. I would like you to understand we are connecting with a woman who has allowed herself to receive her divine holy mission. And she had a tremendous ceremony to change her name into Melissa Sophia Joy. So I would love for those that wish to join with me. I'm going to say her name 3 times because her name holds the embodied resonance that Melissa Sophia Joy worked so hard to actually become an authentic expression of. So her name is Melissa Sophia Joy. Melissa Sophia Joy. Melissa Sophia Joy. And she is a priestess in the Magdalene Christos Sophia lineage, a mystic spiritual teacher, and a founder and a conduit of the Somatic Awakening, founder of the Sophia Healing Academy. But even more so, her community loves her because they voted her to be the best naturopathic physician in Sonoma County. And she's also a mind, body, spirit specialist. She channels Magdalene, the Christ family, and other ascended masters. And she has been right by my side, giving me so much love and support for all the Magdalene work that I've been doing to try to raise and uplift this thing. And one other really curious comment, because last Sunday we just had Renee and Anthony, who as a couple channel Magdalene. So, and there's like, I don't know, maybe 3 or 4 women in the Magdalene community that channel Magdalene. How can all these women be channeling Magdalene? Well, one woman came to me and she asked me, because we do every Sunday, and I invite you to come and look at the replay, which will be up soon on my website, which Scott will put into the chat box. Do we really want to keep saying the Magdalene Moonrise Easter service, or do we want to say the Moonrise Easter service in raising the divine feminine? Because we're all supposed to be the avatars and have the empowered self of our own. And so I asked each of the women who channel Magdalene privately, they didn't know I was asking them, ask Magdalene what she says about that. Are we supposed to drop her name, or are we supposed to keep it Magdalene Moonrise Service? And every single one of them, including Melissa Sophia Joy, came back to me and told me the same exact answer. Yes, we're supposed to keep it, but it's a both and situation. Yes, we want you to raise yourself up and become your own avatar. And there are some of us that need the support and modeling and demonstration of an empowered, sovereign woman, Mary Magdalene. So thank you, Melissa. Blessing. I'm so happy you're going to be with us this next period of time. Blessing.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for that beautiful introduction. Thank you, Scott and Eden, for having me here. I am so excited and I feel so blessed to be able to share so much of what I've experienced, as well as at the end of my share, I'm going to be opening into transmission with Mary Magdalene. So, as has already been said, this path, in its essence, is the way of love. And it is what I have been told, the deepest essence of what Christ was teaching. And as Mary Magdalene, the apostle of the apostles, what she, after his death, started teaching, especially in France, other places as well, but especially in France. And so what I'd like to start with is a little bit about my experience, my gnosis, if that word is new to you. What that means is your own, it's usually defined as your knowing of God, but from a divine feminine perspective, it is the feeling, sensing, experiencing of the divine inside of us. So I'm going to be sharing a little bit about that first. So Mary Magdalene has been so many, many things to me. She is a guide, a teacher, a mentor in spades. She's also a dear friend and companion to me. And my spiritual path has become so intertwined with her because I'm very often connecting with her, asking her questions, and what should I do here? What should I do there? This is how close she has come to me in my own life. And I feel so honored to be able to be a conduit for this wisdom and for this heart path. So this path started for me many, many years ago when I first started going into my own dark night of the soul experience. And it was a very, very difficult experience. My outer circumstances completely changed everything that I was. I was a director of a college program and I was married and all these things. It all fell apart very quickly, very rapidly. And I started going deeper and deeper into remembering trauma stuck in my body that was from repressed memories from this lifetime. And because I'm a mystic, many, many, many very difficult past life experiences. So I started turning to the divine. And one of the first visions that happened for me, there's a long story connected to it, but I'll just give you the highlight of it, is that in the middle of the night, Holy Spirit, Sophia, who it's been shown to me, one and the same being, came to me and started moving through me like a wind, like I could actually hear this wind moving through my body, clearing me out. I was in a Kundalini experience. My body was shaking. I had no idea what was going on, but I could feel the love that was present. I knew this was a very positive thing. And at the very end of that experience, I heard in a booming female voice, "You are of the order of the Magdalene." And at that point, I had no idea exactly what that even meant, but I knew it was true in the core of my being. So I dove deeper into what is this? What is this path really all about? And I was shown again and again through my own experiences that this path is a path of love. It's about love becoming manifest in your being. So fast forward a few years, I think it was 2 or 3 years after that, I had a very high fever. I was in a process of the flu. This is before COVID. Had a very, very high fever for many days. My fever was just coming down and I was awakened in the middle of the night with a full-on vision of Yeshua and Mary Magdalene coming into my room. And in this vision, it was a multi-sensory experience. I could smell roses. I could feel love that was so powerful. I felt completely broken open as if I was a puddle on the floor. And they shared with me that it was time for me to remember who I am and to share that with the world. And then I was given multiple different aspects of a path of initiation that ended up lasting for many years. So right after that vision, what happened to me was that I started very diligently practicing meditation again, because I had meditated for many, many years, and then I became a mother and that had kind of gone to the wayside. So I started meditating quite a bit, and Mary Magdalene started coming to me on a daily basis, teaching me what I needed to know to deeply heal myself. Because remember, I'm a naturopathic doctor. I had had a lot of modalities under my belt. I had been seeing a lot of different practitioners, and all of them had helped me to some degree. But I had trauma that was awakening inside of me that was so intense, it was overwhelming my system, and I knew I needed something deeper. So Mary Magdalene started showing up in my life, teaching me this process, which I have been told actually was an early Christ practice that has been reformed for our present day. In the past, it was called something akin to the abiding of the Holy Spirit. And now in this day, I have experienced so much healing and awakening inside of myself that I then shared with my patients. Same thing happened, that their awakening, their healing was off the chart beyond anything I had ever practiced or shared with anyone before as a healer prior to this. So I started teaching it. Now it's called Somatic Awakening, and I teach it through the Academy, Sophia Healing Academy. They'll be talking more about that later. But the thing that I just want to say that was really, really, really very powerful, in the essence of Somatic Awakening, there is the experience that Mary Magdalene showed me, which I call the practice. And in the practice, what it really is all about, it's about our higher self and the conduit of divinity that we are connected to, that we are one with, right? Our higher self goes, if you're an energy medicine practitioner, you'll know it goes from eighth to 12th chakra, and it goes beyond that, higher and higher and higher and higher, until we come into a oneness field with Creator. Creator's also inside of us and all around us, right? But we have our own very unique conduit. So we bring this conduit, this awareness of our higher self, down into our bodies, into the places that are the most painful, that are the most negative voices, that are the most frozen, the most locked down. And we bring it into contact. We bring it into relationship in this powerful way with many different scaffolding and practices and focuses, principles, so that the darkness, the density within our shadow, the density within our ego, when it comes into contact with this higher and higher and higher vibration that can come in as we practice this, what happens is that the density transforms. It literally dissolves, literally. And I still am practicing the practice. And even just yesterday, I had a huge healing with it. And now I'm teaching it and I'm seeing it in people's lives, how much healing and transformation and transmutation is happening more and more and more and more. And in essence, what's happening is in this coming together of the light and the dark, people are having their own experiences of gnosis, of experiencing, feeling, sensing, embodying the divine inside of our being, of their being. And in this process, the more that we transmute the density of our shadow, the less density we're carrying, the more space we have to actually embody more of our higher self in our being. As that happens, our essence, our inner nature, the true nature of our being, which is at one with the divine, comes into a powerful reclamation of who we truly are, that we are one with the divine, that we are co-creators with the divine, and that we come into a more full understanding of the sacred word, the anthropos, which is a Greek mystical Christian term. It has many different variations of definitions, but in the very essence of it, it means that we are fully human and we are also fully divine, fully human and fully divine. This is the essence of what Christ was teaching when he said the kingdom of heaven is inside, right? And this is the essence of what Mary Magdalene continued to teach those in France and other places, and is teaching us today, teaching us how to connect with her love, her presence, and her wisdom through the Christ consciousness lens, so that we can understand what it means to be the anthropos, to be fully human, to be fully divine, and to connect deeply on that level.
So powerful, Melissa. I'm just going to pop in before you actually give us a direct experience of her voice and her wisdom, to let our audience know that when Melissa is opening to this powerful voice of Mary Magdalene, if there's a question or something that you would like to pop in the chat, then either Scott or I can ask her, because she's going to be in a very deep state. So just to let you know that this is an amazing opportunity to really bring your heart and your questions, or something that you've been contemplating for this intelligence to support and serve your journey. And of course, there's limited time, but we will let her know what is happening in the chat, and we might deepen and ask you questions ourselves. I'm excited. And before you dive in, just from something you spoke about, that process of opening to the higher self, I know from metaphysical, mystical teachings that there's something that I've heard of as the descent of the solar angel. I don't know if you've ever heard this. It's when the initiate or the aspirant turns that devotion, the bhakti, so focusedly on the higher self, that angel, it's like that dove that that higher self comes down into the Sacred Heart. And when you're speaking, I was completely remembering this from my own studies, this and direct experience, this receptive vessel, this holy temple of the body that we are. So just for our guests to really feel that devotion in their heart as they're receiving from you as the voice of Magdalene, to open to that devotion.
Thank you so much, Eden. I so appreciate you speaking to that.
I'm going to pop in with a question just to put into the field and see if the Magdalene wants to address it. It's beautiful to notice how several of our participants in the Zoom room are sharing very vulnerably about powerful dream experiences they've had and possible past life memories. And so I'd love to just, if it comes through, if there's anything on a personal level for anybody that's in our Zoom room. And also maybe a question about how we sometimes can connect to the collective. We can connect to a historical experience that was very significant, and certainly to an archetypal being such as the Magdalene. So I just want to kind of bring that's going on in the field here, and see if there's anything she'd like to express around that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you so much. There's so much more I could say. And my sense is that Magdalene will tag team me here, a much higher vibration. So I'm going to go ahead and go into transmission state. One of the things I have found about being in the oracular state is that it really helps if you're hydrated. So if you feel dehydrated at all, I invite you to take some water, to drink some water. It just helps the information come in, because there's the words that come in, and then there's the transmission of the energy that comes in. So I'm going to take a moment just to take a few sips of water, I invite you to do the same, and then we'll shift gears. All right, so just going to open the space a little bit more with a few words, and then I'll be quiet, and then when I speak again, I'll be in transmission. So we open this space, the highest vibrations, sanctified in love and protection, and holding all of us throughout this time and space collective together, and the diamond golden light of the Christos consciousness. And now we open to our beloved Mary Magdalene. Thank you for unifying with my higher consciousness. And we now open to your wisdom. And so it is. I'm here, beloveds. And I'm so delighted to see so many beautiful, open hearts in this unified reality that we are all a part of. So much has been said today in my honor, and I am very grateful that there is a unified connection to this Christ light that is beaming down upon the earth, especially at this time of this maturation of humanity. This light is so incredibly poignant, significant at the heart of what is needed for humanity to stabilize what would be called the ego, to heal the densities, to transform what has been with the left linear mind leading, and allow for higher consciousness to be embodied in each individual, so that each individual can remember, can step into, can fully feel, sense, experience the divine that lives inside, that is one with all things, that is one with the heart of creation, that is one with Mother, Father, God, all that is. As you step into your essence of the divinity that you are, you come to realize, you come to experience the inheritance of royalty that you are. Humanity has a very small, at this point in time, very small understanding of what you are capable of. But as you unify with the totality of this love, of this unification, and come into a unification of your higher awareness, your higher self, in oneness with the divine outside of you, aligned to your will, your true divine will, connected with the highest good, matter shifts, miracles unfold. Your world will shift more and more into the inner heaven that you are, manifesting externally as the outer heaven that is possible, even in this dualistic framework. The essence of love leads the way. The essence of love is inherent in each of your atoms inside of you. The essence of love is what created you. And as you allow this essence of love to flow through you, to flow through your sacred heart, to flow through your sacred body, all is healed. All will be made whole. All will come back home and to the unification of this love. So we see so many of you, we being Mary Magdalene and the Christ family that are here, we see so many of you have had so many experiences that we understand that you understand the words that have been spoken. And we invite you now to receive your next level of initiation of living these words, of experiencing these words deeper, and of knowing that as you walk your path, whether it is an opening to incredible love and bliss, or whether it is the light moving down deeper into the darkness, that can be difficult. Wherever you are, know that you are being held in love. This Christ light, as has already been said, is shining brighter on this planet right now in this evolutionary time that you are in than it has in 2,000 years. So, beloveds, we invite you to receive this, to trust this, to understand this, to experience this, because the more you experience this, the more it is imprinted upon your living, breathing experience of life, and the more you open to this experience. You're loved beyond what you can ever even imagine. And this love lives inside of you.
Love
So the
it.
path is really about coming back again and again and again to what's true. So with this, we open to any questions.
Thank you, beloved
There,
Magdalene. There's a question from Lynn that is a big question. Lynn asks, how do I embody my divinity to bring forth my divine gifts and mission that I've come to earth to fulfill so that I can be of the greatest service to all life and humanity?
That is a very good question, Lynn. So we speak to Lynn and we speak to many people in this audience who have this question. Almost all of you to some degree have this question. So thank you for speaking this, Lynn. So many of you already have a sense of that. Maybe you've tasted it or you've had awakening experiences in alignment with that, that catapult you into knowing something else is possible. Reality is not exactly what it seems in 3D consciousness. And so you are catapulted into the light, into this higher wisdom, into this higher love. And for most, the journey then will take you back into that which is still holding you down, the contractions, the negative voices, the less than programming or any other negative programming that pull you down from your trauma, from your family, from your society, from your past lives, wherever. So the process is continuing to connect to the light, allow the light to move into your body, allowing the love to move into your body, and then bringing this harvest to that which believes that you are not of the light, to that which believes that you are not of love, that you are not good enough, because these are the things that hold you back from your true essence. In essence, we see the divine and the core of the soul inside of you. That is a place where the divine lives at its highest frequency inside. However, the ego programs and trauma contractions that live in your body, the more there are, the more it is layered on the outside of this core divine awareness, which also holds your soul purpose. So the more that you can bring the light into very intimate contact, care, relationship with these parts, the more they transform. And the more that your soul light shines, and the more power and the more courage, the more strength, the more clarity arises for you and everyone to manifest the divine within, and then that manifests the divine without.
thank you so much. It's a beautiful sharing, and it's an honor to have you here. Our friend Dorina, all the way down in Ecuador, asks, how do we deeply evoke, fully embody, and seamlessly integrate all of these aspects of the humanly and divine aspects in our bodies, our hearts, and our souls, as well as daily lives? We encounter so much separation, violence, and fear, and we want to do our best to transmute this into compassion, wisdom, and love. Any tips, tools?
Thank you for that question. Very similar, but different than the first. So the answer will be similar, but different. The first thing that is important to understand is that in this reality that each soul has chosen to come here in this experience of this reality that's dualistic, that is aligned with free will, therefore can seem chaotic and feel traumatizing. And the experience of this trauma becomes, in many cases, cemented in one's being. So the way out, not to minimize the experience, but the way out is seemingly like finding one's way through a maze. Right? How do you work this? Where is the light now? How can we take that next step? So with this, we say to you, number one, the journey is not necessarily seamless. Honestly, the journey is taking 5 steps forward and then bringing that experience into the shadow, transmuting the shadow, taking more steps forward and then bringing that back in. Maybe some external experience triggers something inside. More light comes in, more transmutation occurs. So the way that this reality has been set up, it is the reality of connecting more with the light, bringing the light in more. Again, as has been said, as we bring this light in more into the densities inside, it is not always easy. Courage is required. Trust is required. Opening and trusting the love of the divine is required. But the more this happens, the more the abiding of what could be called Holy Spirit, what could be called the love of the divine, the love that is moving into self from the divine, opens and shifts. And then one can have the experience of feeling the seamlessness of the magic and the miracles and the spontaneity that arises in the world. The journey is for the evolution of every soul that is here. It is, in essence, the mastery of duality, of the light coming into the dark, together in oneness. And in this mastery of duality, you are carried through the experience of this in the river of love. Right? So the river of love is flowing more and more and more. And the more you can come into contact with that love, the more that you trust the experience, the more you relax into the experience, and then more you realize, I chose this. I chose this so I could be a master of duality. I could be a master of love. And as one evolves more and more, this unified consciousness merges with everything. And this is when you complete your journey and you fully move into oneness with all that is in the enlightened state, in the ascended state. But there's no need to rush. Everyone will get here in their own right and perfect timing.
Thank you so much. There's one other question. I'm going to preface it with this inquiry that many of us have around ascension. And this piece that you shared earlier about heaven is nearer than near. Some might ask, do I have to come back again into form? Terry is asking, how do I make sure I don't have to come back after this lifetime into my body? How can I make sure that I can ascend into light or into this higher realm? And can you speak to us about this possibility of bringing heaven to earth through raising our own frequency in the body more, so that it doesn't feel like such a burden and so much suffering?
This is a very, very good question and a pinpoint of awareness that wants to be brought forward. So when we see a human from this higher awareness, we see massive amounts of light along with whatever density that being carries. In order for ascension to fully happen, there needs to be a complete dissolving of the energy that keeps one from a unified state of consciousness, or in other words, having the ego rule at all. The ego will still be there, but the ego no longer rules. The higher consciousness has fully embodied and has consecrated itself in the core of one's being. Now, in this process of spiritual evolution, one must come into full relationship with ego structure, including spiritual ego, including the spiritual ego that is pining and longing for something. That something very often can be, I don't want to come back. I want to ascend. I want, right? It is not wrong to ask that question. It is not wrong to have that desire. But the actual question itself, when it is aligned to the ego, it actually prevents the actual ascension process from happening. What we are trying to say is that the ascension process, in evolving so much that the core consciousness is coming from this higher awareness of the divine and fully embodied in being with no ego leading, is an evolved path. So, beloved, who asked this question, we say to you, first, we invite you to trust your spirit, to trust your experience, and to know that after you leave this body, that you will have a complete assessment of where you are at, of if you are ready for ascension or not, with your counsel on the other side. For now, for those of you who have this deep soul desire for ascension, what we invite in is the path, however it looks like, of allowing, opening to very high experiences of light, such as going on pilgrimage or going into deep meditation practice, meditation retreat, things such as that, right? So that you open more and more to this higher light coming in, and then allowing the higher light coming in to see, to presence, to hold, to love, to care for any density inside that is connected to the ego, the shadow, even the spiritual ego, because that too is part of the ego. So we work with this more and more and more, surrendering more and more to our higher consciousness, which is one with the divine, to allow over time and our right and perfect timing, without pushing or forcing or straining beyond our capacity, to allow the light of the divine to fully take over your life with permission.
So beautiful.
My will, thy will.
My will, thy will. I will to will thy will. Beautiful, beloved. Is there anything in closing that you would leave us as just a final prayer or mantra in English to deepen with in our practice of devotion to this path of heart, this path of love?
Yes, we would like to end with a prayer. I invite you to close your eyes. Deep breaths in and out. And come again to contact with your sacred, holy heart, placing your hands there if you would like. We call in an abiding experience of love into your experience of life. We invite in this love, this care, this nurturing that the divine, the good, Mother, Father, God, especially Sophia, is beaming down into your life constantly. We now invite your higher self in alignment with all aspects of you, your heart, your soul, your spirit, your shadow, to allow this love to penetrate, this experience to penetrate your being at its deepest core, to allow all parts of you that do not believe that you are this love, that do not believe that you have permission to receive this love, or that you're not good enough to receive this love, or whatever it is, for those parts that are the most scared, the most hurt, the most frozen, for them to receive this love, this care, as they were ready, as they trust, to transform the density held within, to allow all of the frozen, all of the overwhelm, all of the fear, and everything else that's holding you down to transform, to transmute. And for you to have your own deepening experience of gnosis, of connection, of union, of deep awareness of the divine inside of you. We now offer this to all of you through space and time, and we ask your higher self to take this transmission and to place it on your timeline in the future. So not only are you receiving it now, you are also receiving it in the future, in the right and perfect way for you, for as long as it's needed, into eternity, for you to know and to keep coming back again and again and again to this love that never dies, to this care that's always holding you, to this river of divinity that is always underneath and underlying everything, all that you are experiencing, even the places that are the most difficult, especially those places. You're never alone, beloveds. We're always here. The divine is with you in every single breath. We activate this field of love. We activate this field of love. This field of love is fully activated in your life now. in the right and perfect way for you. And so it is.
And so it is. Blessed be. Thank you so much.
So it is.
So we now end this transmission in this specific space and time, and this channel is now closed. Thank you.
Whew. Mm. Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful.
Thank you.
I'm going to give each of our wonderful guests here a chance for kind of a final thought, also to share a little bit about what they have in the world. I'll let Melissa kind of come back into her reality. And Chanel, I actually have a question for you. And I hope you don't mind my asking, but so much of today's show has been about the divine feminine, but you had mentioned that you had said to your man, hey, we got to move to France, and that it's hard to leave France. I'm just curious, what's his experience been, kind of, following your guidance, following your inspiration, coming to France and then staying there and being in this space? I'm just curious what that's been like for him.
Well, I could ask him because he's here.
Yeah, if
right.
that's okay. I mean, it's very spontaneous, everybody.
Did you hear that question?
I did.
Yeah, come. Yeah.
Hello.
Hi,
What's your name?
Tarek.
Tarek.
Tara, good to see you, brother.
Oh.
You too, Eden. You too.
So what's it been like for you, following your beloved intuition and then coming to a different country and having these experiences?
Yeah, it's quite fascinating, really, because the only person's intuition that I trust more than my own is hers.
Mm.
So we were quite settled and feeling home in Norway. But then when Chanel felt so strongly about south of France, I was like, well, if you feel that strongly, there must be a reason for it. Let's go. And we did. And to be honest, it feels even more home here. And us being here and the things that have transpired and our friends that have, moved down also to the area, it all makes sense in retrospect. So I can really see how and why this move has been very pivotal and very necessary for us at this particular point. And also when we came here, it was when the pandemic was just kind of getting started up. And so to be here in a very abundant food growing region where food grows most of the year round, there were just a lot of things that made sense, and that made sense in retrospect. Like, we didn't necessarily know what was going to happen, but it was a really great move. I hope that answers the question.
You know what I love about that is
I have one more question too, Scott. Can I ask Tuareg a question?
sure, of course.
What is your direct experience in your masculine body of the energies of the sacred springs in the land? Have you noticed activations, insights, deepening spiritual awareness as well? Have you been moved by the frequency of that land?
Yeah, I feel certainly there's something special going on here. I think because it's this area that's steeped in culture and heritage and the story of the Cathars and so on. This land is very alive and very, very ignited, but in a subtle way. So it's not something that I've noticed like a switch one day to the next. It's more like over the course of a number of months, I found myself just relaxing much more deeply, being able to be a lot more connected and in tune and focused and centered and grounded. And yeah, it's done wonders, really, when I think about it. I think that's been my experience anyway. Is just like a very experiential calm and a very centeredness and a lot of creativity and
Stillness.
yeah,
Mm.
yeah, placid lake eternally.
Beautiful.
It's a wonderful modeling for all of us to really follow our own intuition, or when we really trust the intuition of a beloved or of a family member. And even though it doesn't, it's like, really? How it just unfolds beautifully when we do follow our guidance in that way. So I'm so glad. I didn't know he was right there in the room. And it
As of
really
about
was
5
cool.
minutes ago, yeah, just walked through the door and then heard the
There's something
question.
about when she said that, I said, God, I got to follow up on that. So,
Yeah.
well, thank you. Good to meet you, Tori.
Yeah.
I want to remind everybody a couple things.
Thank you all.
While we still have Chanel here. What a beautiful book. And you can buy it now. Again, you'll find it at activatedangel.com. Activatedangel.com. And you can go right here and buy the book, The Crystal Children Prophecies. And it looks just beautiful. Yeah, thank you for that. And then one more time, I want to take people to the retreat page. And again, you can find all these things. We're going to look at a few things that Eden provides. Definitely, I'm going to encourage people to go to Eden's main webpage, and we'll look at that later. But here it is again, The Mysteries of the Sacred Rose. And this retreat is going to take place June 25 to July 2nd. And you can go to this website, learn all about it, and then, of course, apply. And actually, you'll have a conversation with Eden, and that's a wonderful offering as well. Any last thing, Chanel or Eden, you want to add about the retreat?
So there is a beautiful carousel on this page that shows it's a little lower, Scott. You'll find, I think, little arrows soon after this video. Go down past this and this. Where do we put it? There's a carousel that you can, for those who visit the site, you can really feel the area and the sacred waters and the land, and watch the video, the invitation video as well. Here it's going into our very deep temple days, like I spoke of before. And, I studied with a Christian mystic mythologist who studied Mary Magdalene for 40 years. And as we were sitting and talking about all the depth of who she really was, I recognized, wow, we're actually doing this work as priestesses. It's resonating so strongly because I know this path in my heart as an ordained priestess who's doing this work in this lifetime. So visit the site and feel some of those opportunities. I think that's this is
the one
beauty of the location, and the land we'll be walking and really feeling those codes, like Chanel said. So it's a special opportunity to not only be activated by the land itself, the sacred waters, the healing waters, the mystical energies, but to do some of the deep priestess work, the temple work that was happening then. These practices that Melissa Sophia Joy, as she was channeling Magdalene, was pointing to, how to bring our love into the deepest knots inside our being, the density, the soul scars, the shadow patterns, how to raise our frequency in that inner alchemy, to open the sacred heart to walk as an embodiment of love. So we're going to be working directly with those practices on this retreat.
Well, I'm seeing that a few people are saying that they're really intrigued. And so I would love some of our Global Peace Tribers to go. So hopefully that'll happen. That'd be really beautiful.
I'd be overjoyed to talk to you and Chanel too. And it's a beautiful experience to just drop in deeper to the heart on a one-on-one call, and to share your story and to feel if this is right for you. So please don't hesitate to apply and reach out.
Chanel, what a pleasure to meet you and your beloved. So thank you for coming all the way from France into our Zoom room. And I know it's going to be a very special event and honor to meet you.
It's,
Thank you so
it's been a
much.
pleasure. It's been a great joy for me to be here.
Thank
Mm.
you so much, beloved.
I'm going to bring Christy and Melissa back on because I want to share a little bit about their offerings. And Melissa, there's been so many comments in the chat box, people appreciating you. I'm going to read just one. Dorina writes, "Thank you deeply, Melissa Sophia Joy." And I loved how Christy did your name 3 times. That was beautiful. Melissa Sophia Joy, for this amazing, most beautiful, meaningful, and loving message, channeling, and transmission from Mary Magdalene. What a blessing. Wisdom and pure love, all of this is. And we are heartfully grateful and thankful, from Trina Joy in Ecuador. And it's true. It was a beautiful, beautiful channeling.
Thank you.
So I would love for you to share with us a little bit. You're offering a free ebook. I've put that link into the chat box, but tell us about this wonderful gift.
So this gift you can find on my primary website. I'll talk just a moment about that. Sophia Healing Academy. You can see there's a lot of different ways to contact me. There's a lot of different free resources. There's a quiz. There's lots of different things that you can find on this website. Also a lot about my teaching. I offer monthly teachings as a part of what I call the Somatic Awakening Sangha. And there are lots of different things that are going on. There's an introductory course. There's also a 6-month program. And really what it all boils down to is a way to really work with this light moving into the darkness, into the shadow, shifting the density so that then we can fully blossom into who we really are. So this ebook, it actually was written a little while ago. I'm right in the middle of writing a book for publication now, but it gives you the essence of the practice. There's also a written transmission from Mary Magdalene in there. And I invite you to take advantage of this free ebook. While you're there, I invite you just to connect with all the different things in the website. Again, there's a lot of free resources, interviews, meditations, etc. So you can just check it out more.
Beautiful. So everybody, that's SophiaHealingAcademy.com. And like I just did, like you watched, you just click, give your name and your email address, and you get the free ebook. Melissa Sophia Joy, what a pleasure to have you on the show.
Thank you.
So much. And Christy, thank you for inviting her and bringing her into our Global Peace Tribe world.
She's been a huge supporter of the work that we've done in our Magdalene community, and I'm deeply grateful to her. But Scott, I also have to say I'm deeply grateful to you. You were so intuitively right on, and I don't even think you realized in terms of the order and who said what and when things landed, that afterwards I was reflecting, I was like, wow, was Scott's intuition accurate? Oh my God, you, my dear, are a beloved sacred masculine. And I just see who's like, oh, Mashar, your music in the beginning. I wish we had you do 3 more songs. And then we have, George Noble on the call, and Eleanor, your beloved, is with you. I've just been watching these beautiful sacred masculine in partnership or coming on the call, that you guys are amazing. These men are the up and coming men, because we need the sacred masculine to join us in this equalizing, supportive, loving way. I mean, you saw a demonstration with Chanel's partner there. Was that not a demonstration of equal love?
Yeah.
I mean, they energetically, they were just like 2 peas in a pod in heaven. There wasn't any darkness about them. They were just love and light and so supportive. You see how he honors her. Oh my God, it was just a gift to watch. Just loved your partner, Chanel.
Thank
He's
you.
definitely going to be on our, and you guys are going to have to be on our enlightened partnership, right, Scott?
Yeah, absolutely. That's a
Thank
good,
you
a
so
good call. That's a good call, Christy.
much.
Well, speaking, Christy has got a wonderful new offering. So tell us about, you've got actually two offerings, your Gospel of Mary class that starts on Friday. And
Well, this is a series that we've been doing, and each series in the 4-part series is basically, many people know the Course in Miracles, but they don't know that the Gospel of Mary Magdalene is mirrored in A Course in Miracles. And of course, the Gospel of Mary Magdalene was written how many thousands of years ago. And so I put together a way so people really see that the Course in Miracles is the awakening path. And then I'm also teaching the Magdalene Ascension process that's on that's built into the Gospel of Mary Magdalene, that really helps to show us the step-by-steps, the nuances of that. So if you join my newsletter, you'll get informed as offerings come up. It's the deep dive work. It's been such a joyous adventure for me, and thank you so much, Scott, for letting people know about it and find out more, because it's revolutionized my life like nothing else. Just so happy and so grateful. Thank you.
absolutely. And I've got good news for you. You wanted more Omastrom music, and we're
Yes.
going to have more Omastrom music in a moment. But thank you again, Christy. And I'm going to bring my wonderful co-host back on, because I want people to know about some of the other offerings that Eden provides. And a great place to start is her homepage, where you will find all things Eden Amadora. And one thing, if you haven't, I know some of our audience has already done this, but if you haven't yet, take the quiz. She's got this wonderful love archetype quiz. It's really fun to take. It's short. And then you learn more about kind of, what love means to you and what you look for in love. And so it's a beautiful, beautiful thing. And then I know that it's really important for people to know about your Ascension teaching. So I'm going to go to that page. And again, you'll find all of this on EdenAmadora.com. But tell us about the Rainbow Light activation.
So, it's really fascinating. There's a lot of images of the risen Christ after the resurrection where he is shown with a rainbow around him. And we know from Tibetan masters and other stories of only their nails and hair remaining and rainbows being seen in the sky when they leave their physical form. And this is a very, very high level of practice that, for some of us, it's just the beginning seed of a dream in our heart to first embody so deeply that we can, like, I know Terry was asking, how do I then choose not to come back? And Magdalene said this, when there's only love and a path of service and this great alchemical awakening, it's not even that we don't want to come back. We actually want to be fully here in service and love. So my Ascension course, it's a very, very deep dive in a intro level for 7 weeks. It's going to be working with the soul scars, the knots, the old programming in each of our 7 energy centers and the soul star, and feeling that energy that Magdalene spoke about, that Melissa Sophia Joy spoke about, the descent of the higher self into the sacred heart. So very specific practices that help us touch each of those places with unconditional love, with guided imagery, visualization, meditation, specific mantras, specific embodiment practices that give you tools to continue your path of embodiment. Because for me, the body is the holy temple. And for us to think of Ascension as a disembodied experience is now proving to be such a a fallacy. The deeper we come into the center of the heart and embody this love and transmute the fear and the resistance of the mostly the lower chakras, and especially the root of our collective ancestral traumas and these feelings that are not even our own. Sometimes it's past life memories. I think Magdalene has shared with us, whatever it is, to be able to be guided to touch these places with unconditional love, compassion, forgiveness, to transmute them in the now and alchemize them into the higher octave and the gifts of each of our energy centers. So that's why I'm showing the rainbow light body. And if you visit that page, Scott's put it in the link. It is for those who can't see in the chat here, it's under work with me and the circles and courses that I do live. So this is an opportunity to really, and there, Scott, it says, why activate the rainbow light body? And if you scroll back to that section, it says, because not only do we change our physiology and our literal biochemistry for our own health and radiance by working with these higher frequencies, when you raise your auric field and your whole frequency, your heart awakens, and the magnetism of the heart, it's like that master switch that turns on, and it changes the out picturing of your life. So when Mary Magdalene talks about bringing heaven to earth or seeing, it's seeing through the eyes of the awakened heart and actually perceiving your relationships differently, perceiving the collective narratives differently, walking in a less reactive, less fearful frequency, in a more present, joyful, grateful, heart forward energy for the rest of your life. So that, I know not everyone can join Chanel and I in France, and I was so inspired to offer some of the teachings that we'll be doing live in France in person to the greater community, who no matter where you are in the world, you can still deepen with this work.
Mm.
That was the intention.
And I see that Dia Therese is registered and is joining you. So that's
Yes.
I hopefully many global peace drivers joining you for your course, and maybe even 1 or 2 or 3 for France.
That would be a joy to share this work with many.
Eden, it's always such a joy to be with you and to co-host with you. And you know, it was interesting because both Eden and I were with the Twin Ray quite a bit this weekend. And really what they're teaching is the same thing that we heard today. It was like thing after thing after item. It's like the same message, just coming from different high level sources. So
That's when you know when you feel the resonance, and it's like, this is not one being's kind of download. This is a collective awakening that the heart remembers, and it resonates. And it's a very, very different thing than waiting for a figure to come back and save or rescue us as if we are disempowered, and awakening to that divine Sophia Christos within each of us. Aw.
Thank you, sir. Speaking of Sophia, there's Sylvia. Thank you, Sylvia. We always love what you create. Those are just so beautiful. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, Chanel says, I am a cell in the body of Christ.
Yeah. A particularly vibrant cell, I might add. And we all are imaginal cells of the new paradigm of the butterfly emerging. And Terry just wrote, we are all connected. So many beautiful comments today also, Eden. So thank you, everybody. I know that we didn't get to everyone's questions and everyone's comments, but thank you. And we've already gone pretty long. We're going to close with an Namaskar song. I do want to just remind people of one thing. This Wednesday night's show is going to be a big one. We have so many amazing guests lined up. We're collaborating with Portal to Ascension, Alan Steinfeld, Neil Gar, and it's going to be like one of our Saturday night shows. It's going to be a powerful show. So join us this Wednesday night, again, as we carry on the same theme of Humanity Awakens. And we're going to hear from a lot of wonderful new voices that have not been on this show before, as well as some of our favorites from before, Larissa Stowe and Michelle Anderson. So please join us this Wednesday night at 6 p.m. It's going to be a really, really special show. And Eden, I love you. I'm so grateful always to be able to collaborate with you. And
It's such an honor, Scott. Thank you so much for your love, your devotion, your service to humanity through this great transition, this shift. You've been a bright light for so many. Thank you.
we're awakening, it's really happening. It's really, really beautiful. So thank you, Eden. And here's Ambushar.
Well, gosh, thank you, beloved sisters, for such a high level, deeply grounded, deeply opening, completely transforming experience. I am so blessed to be in the presence of such greatness. And so there we are. Howdy smoke, here we are. Thank you. Words don't cut it. We know that. And when you're in resonance with something, your body just lights up. And so here is a song, one of a series of Sunday songs called "Love Is in My Heart," and some may recognize. Love is in my heart today. Love heals in every way. Gentle is this heart of mine. I am in love divine. Peace is in my heart today. Peace guides me through my day. Gentle is this heart of mine. I am in love divine. I am healing, I am whole. I am loved deep in my soul. Gentle is this heart of mine. I am in love divine. Dum bum ba da dum 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 ba da dum ba da dum bum bum. Peace is in my heart today. Peace guides me all the way. Gentle is this heart of mine. I am in love divine. I am healing, I am whole. I am loved deep in my soul. Gentle is this heart of mine. I am in love divine. world is this heart of mine. I am in love divine.
Fantastic. I love everybody dancing.
I know, we got to see Chanel's cat.
Right. Chanel's cat definitely was a moment. I'm on gallery view now, everybody, and thank you for another what a beautiful Sacred Sunday. And please remember to share our replays or the shows with people. Let's grow our Global Peace Tribe. Thank you, everybody. What a beautiful, beautiful show. And remember, we can make any moment sacred by choosing to see the divine in all. Thank you, everybody. See you on Wednesday night. Have a beautiful, beautiful day.